Hey everybody, welcome to Time-Lapse Drawings with Chris Wharton. A little while ago I was asked how I get my red pencil lines to go away after I'm finished inking. Now if you don't know my process, basically what I do is I draw in red pencil or in blue pencil, and then I ink over those lines, and then I never bother to actually erase my red pencil. Now the reason I don't erase is because I actually like being able to look at my inked finished drawing and being able to see the original drawing underneath it and where I deviated from it when I inked it. So I keep the red pencil lines, and I also like using a different color lead because this allows me to see the lines a lot easier. And what's also cool about that is once I scanned it into Photoshop, it's so much easier for Photoshop to recognize the difference between red and blue and the inked black color than it is for it to recognize the difference between the gray color of normal graphite lead. Now, I use Adobe Photoshop to take the colored lead pencil away after scanning it in, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I have the current version of Photoshop, but I actually think that this method works for any version of Photoshop in existence. I've used several different versions of Photoshop before, I think at least 3 or 4, and each version has had the same options available while scanning and color correcting. If you wait a few more seconds, I'll finish off these couple landsharks and I will get to the tutorial. In the meantime, let me let you know that I'm actually going to be going to Gen Con for the first time this year. It's going to be taking place in Indiana on August 4th through August 7th, and I'm going to be tabling with Third World Studios, and I cannot wait to do this because it's actually going to be the release of a game I worked on called Arcane Academy. If you're going to Gen Con, please stop by the Third World Studios table and say hi. Third World Studios should have a few copies of Arcane Academy for sale. I'll also have original artwork for sale, I'll be doing commissions, and be selling copies of my books. On to the tutorial. So after you load your drawing into your scanner, bring up Photoshop and then go to the File menu. Here you're going to scroll down to Import and then scroll over to Images from Device. Click on that, and that should bring up your scanning window. If you've already chosen your scanner, it should automatically do an overview scan to show you what's on the glass of the device. Once that's done, go ahead and select the area that you actually want scanned into Photoshop. Next, go up and choose a resolution that you want it at. I usually choose either 600 dpi or higher. This allows me more range of usages later on. In this case, I'm going to choose scanning in color instead of black and white because I want to pick up that red. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm scanning directly to the folder I want it to be scanned into for later usage. Then I'm going to name my file and hit scan. Give this a second to actually scan over to Photoshop. And there you go. The raw scan is now in Photoshop. Now the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I'm saving this properly as a PSD file. There we go. Now let's take a closer look at the drawing and the raw scan. You're going to be able to see that the raw scan shows all of the original red pencil lines all there. They haven't gone away yet. Photoshop isn't like magic, so you have to do a few things to make them go away. Now all the things that you're going to need to do the color correction for this document are all under the Image menu. So let's go on up to the Image menu and scroll on down to the Adjustments area. Once you've hit Adjustments, you can scroll over and you'll see a bunch of different options there for adjusting your drawing. I know there's a lot of stuff here, but I really only want you to pay attention to 3 different things here. The one called levels, the one called hue and saturation, and finally the one called threshold. First, let's bring up hue and saturation. Once you've got the hue and saturation menu up, I want you to notice there is a drop down that says master. This actually allows you to choose the different colors that you want to control. In my case, I use a red pencil, so the colors I want to focus on are the reds and the magentas. Once I choose a color, I can go down to the lightness option and bring that scroll bar all the way over to the lightest setting. This lightens all the red colors and allows them to completely go away. But I'm still left with the magentas, so let's go over to them and do the same thing. As you can see, all the red pencil is gone. So we're going to go ahead and click OK, and next we're going to adjust the darkness of the black inks. To do this, we're going to go over to the image menu again, go down to adjustments, and then choose levels this time. With the levels window open, you're going to see a small graph in there with 3 arrows below it. Now with a completely black and white image, you're going to see 2 peaks and then curving slightly towards the center. Now what I want you to do is take the arrows on either end underneath the graph and pull them in so they're almost to the end of the curve on the center of the graph, like this. Doing this will take all your blacks and bring them all the way to black, and then it'll take all your lights and bring them all the way to white. See, it's looking much better now, right? Having done that, we're going to hit OK and move on to the next step. Now, at this point, your drawing is looking pretty good, and some people may actually stop here and not bother with this final step. But if you look closely at the line, you're going to see that there still are some gray edges around the lines. It's not completely black and white, but there's still a fuzziness to the edge. Now, keeping that fuzzy edge may be okay for certain kinds of art, but I like to have my edges completely clean to make it easier for selection purposes. That makes it easier for me to color later on. And doing this also makes my lines look extra crisp when I print them out. So to push the contrast all the way to the edges, what I want to do is I want to go back over to Image, go down to Adjustments, and then choose Threshold this time. Once the Threshold menu has come up, you're going to see this graph again with 1 arrow below it. What you want to do is find the thickness of the line that you want. You can play with it a little bit and see where you like it. I usually like it around 128, and then hit OK. Now as you can see, the drawing is nothing but blacks and whites. There's no gray tones whatsoever. Even if we zoom in super close, you're going to see nothing but pixels in between that are black and white. There you have it. Go ahead, try it out, see how it works for you. And if you try it out, please let me know how it worked in the comments. If you liked today's video, please give me a big thumbs up and leave me a comment. And if you're new and you want to see more videos every week, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next week. Hey everyone, do you have a cool idea for a character commission and do you want to see that commission being done in the time-lapse video? Go to patreon.com/Chris Wharton and check out my cool new Patreon rewards.